One of the video requests that we get is for our full setup and breakdown. What's involved in breaking down your entire life,
yeah,
packing it up and hauling it to a new place and setting it all up again.
That's right. Roll the intro. Do it now. I was kind of surprised at how many people ask us, when are you going to do that? So we decided we would just do it.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a long video.
Yeah, we know that this is a long video, but guess what?
It's
a long process.
Yeah, and honestly, it's condensed. You know, we condensed as much as we could.
You're going to hear us talk about T24, T12, T0.
Right.
Explain that.
Those are our checklists. So that was my invention of a name. Just rather than have a long name like day before checklist and night before checklist, it's just T24 about 24 hours before we leave, T12 the night before-ish, T0 day of, and then hitching. A lot of it's memorized, and we do a lot of it just instinctively, but we always refer to our checklist before going on to the next step, because you don't know if you'll miss something.
And by checklist, we use the notes app just right there on our phone, so
right.
We can go through and mark complete, and then we can clear it all out for the next time that we need to use it.
Right. Obviously, you could use paper, you can use whatever you want.
Now, another thing that we want to stress is this is not an instructional video.
Yes, it's
by any means.
This is not a step-by-step, here's what you do for this step. That would be like a 4-hour video.
Yeah.
This is an overview of the whole process and how we do it. By all means though, if you would like to see any of these steps, the poop hose, the garage, whatever, in more detail, please comment below. If we get enough interest in a topic, we'll be happy to make a video on it.
That's right. Chad also put together an entire video on our internet setup. So when you get to that part, towards the end of the video when he is setting up the office, there's not really going to be a lot of talking about how he sets up the internet. There's a separate video for that, so you can check that one out.
We'll link that up. Bing, 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 right here.
It's probably going to be over here.
Yes, right here. We know this is a long video, so I will link down below, and I'll put some time code indexes to each part of the setup. If you're looking for one specific part of our setup, you can skip to that.
Right, because a lot of people want to know specifically about how you break down and set up the garage for getting it ready for the motorcycle and then preparing it as your office.
Yeah, I've had several requests for that very specific topic. So let's get to the meat of the video.
That's right.
T24 step 1 is dumping the tanks, including the back tank, and then securing the rear dump hose. This is the black tank flush for the rear black tank. T24, I want to have this hose, rear hose, disconnected so we don't have to worry about it tomorrow morning. Here comes the fun.
And we flush it.
So now it's basically just about 10 minutes of watch until the water goes clear. Then I will let it drain, and I will flush, and then drain and flush until I get no more solids coming out. The next step is, now this is dumped and flushed, is to secure this hose, put it away so I don't have to deal with it tomorrow. But for that, I've got to cover these. By the way, I don't know if you noticed there, but I have tubes underneath the rig where the poop hoses go, so they don't have to be in the basement anywhere. You know, I've got a tub in there for gloves, the connectors, but the hoses go underneath the rig. Rear tank is up, rear hose is stowed, all put away. Now I want to dump the main black tank and the gray tanks, have them ready to go for tomorrow. And then when I'm done, I'll go inside and treat both. The rear tank is much easier because there are generally no solids, you know what I'm saying, in there. This one's a little more solids. So, time to dump the main black. For this, I like to use a cutoff switch here and put it right up here. That way I can turn it off, turn it on, etc., without having to go over to the hose bib, which is, you know, way over there. Here goes. It's not pretty. It's not pretty at all. Got the flush going, so we'll let that run for a little while. Just as proof that I really do use these checklists, you can see it here. Check, check. First two items are done. My EEZ or EZ, however the hell you say it, tire pressure monitoring system is all synced up to all 4/6 wheels, and I can flip through them here and I can see that my front and left was 105. These should all be at 110, and I generally give myself plus or minus 3 psi. It's a little bit cooler here and it's going to stay cooler, so I'm going to go ahead and get these things all targeted at 110. Especially these ones that are 105, that's out of my tolerance range. If these were all 107 with a couple 106s, I'd probably be okay, but I don't like the 105s. Time to break out the pump, air up the tires. So as far as pumps that can get up to 120 or so PSI, we've got this Vi-Air. I'll put the link down in the comments. It works great, and it's got plenty of hose to reach from the front of the truck to the back of the rig. I generally, this thing can hook up to any 12 volt DC power source. I usually will hook it up here in the front bay directly to the batteries, so I don't have to worry about going all the way to the front of the truck or turning the truck around. It's got 2 full lengths of hose, like this long. I only need 1 to get from here to all 6 tires. So since I've done the hard part and gotten the pump out and hooked up, I don't just air up the tires that are low. I'm gonna make sure they're all at 110. There's really not a lot of sun to speak of here today, otherwise I would probably count maybe a couple PSI on the sun side. Not very sunny here today, so got a good digital gauge here. This is also a good way to test the TPMS. When I unscrew the sensor, this thing should go crazy and tell me, something's wrong. Good to go. Keep it at me. Now off to the passenger side. Tires are all aired up. Not going to put this away yet though until I check the truck tires. All right, so this part I can actually just do inside the truck since the truck has its own built-in TPMS. It's just a matter of cranking it up and seeing what we get. I'm looking for 70 PSI on the front and 65 on the back tires. I'm pretty good with these numbers except for that rear right tire, which I've had a little bit of a leak on, I think. It's been a really slow leak that I'm going to have looked at. So I'm going to go ahead and get that tire up to 65 PSI on the outer tire of that dually. These tires on the rig and on the truck are the only thing stopping our house from scraping the ground, so take it seriously. So the point of a physical inspection on the tires is really just that. I'm just going to look for anything obvious. I'm looking for anything funky on the tread. I'm looking for any loose bolts, anything completely disconnected. Just, common sense stuff. So all I do when I'm inspecting these is I'm just giving them a quick little once over. I'm going to look at all of the shackles, make sure they're good, make sure I don't have any bolts coming loose. I just checked the torque values on all these on my last trip, so I'm good to go there. While I'm on one side, I can look across to the other side and just make sure my leaf springs aren't over compressed. While I was working on the tires, I was letting the black tank completely drain and flush out. I flushed it a couple of times now, so they were good to go there, and now I need to dump the grays and I'll be done out here. I'm putting this meter on my freshwater line. I'm not sure why I said that like Christopher Walken. That way, tomorrow when I'm ready to put about 5 gallons in my gray tanks, I'll know about how much goes because I can just turn the faucet on, watch it out here, and get 5 gallons in. These are a great way to organize back here. They're just simple stowage straps with some carabiners. Move it through, you got a nice little hook. I still need to inspect the rig, so let me go ahead and get down and do that. So I like to use this white lithium grease on the hitch and bolts and connectors. Makes it so it doesn't squeak like hell when I'm pulling into a part. So all of the 2 main pins that hold the hitch on are good. In there, pin in there. The 4 bolts that go in are good. I have those actually locked into place, and I got everything lubed up and pretty good to go on there. So next step is the pin box. So basically the same thing on the pin box. This is the Flex Air, so it's got a couple of pivot points on it, here and here, here and here. So I'm going to lube those up, and I will typically check the PSI on the airbag every 3 weeks or so. It seems to hold pressure pretty well, but it does slowly leak. If we get hooked up tomorrow and it's low, it'll be obvious because there's a line right here where this comes down once it gets weight on it, and that'll tell me instantly if I'm low or high on pressure. You know, if it's a tiny bit below the line, I'm not that worried about it. I've found that when I do need to air this up every few weeks, I'll air it to about 100 PSI, and it seems to work out pretty well. So let's lube this thing up. That should be good. I don't do this if we've only been in a location for a week. I didn't lube it before our last trip, so I'm lubing it before this one. That's that. Okay, so I can check off the rig. I want to get some water in my fresh tank, so now is a good time to do that while I've got the meter hooked up. I might have to push some of these off to tomorrow because we have to go to dinner. I will just leave my 2 gray tanks open just for the last night. That way, showering tonight and whatever, I know that whatever we do in there tonight will drain right out, and I'll have 0 in there. Because before I go on the road tomorrow, I want to put about 5 gallons in. I don't want to have too much. I don't want to have 10. I don't want to have too much sloshing around there. So about 5 gallons I'll put in. But that way, with the gray tanks open, again, I don't recommend doing this all the time, especially when you're doing dishes and stuff, because those solids in there will just sit in the tank. But for this one night, it's okay. For treating the black tanks, we use Happy Camper. It's real easy.
Makes us happy campers.
Yeah, real easy. 1 scoop for a gallon. So I know from measuring that a gallon is right about here, and you want to sprinkle mix it in.
And try not to take deep breaths or you'll have a sneezing attack.
Yeah. Try not to breathe through my nose. So right there is about a gallon. And now I'm going to put 2 more gallons in there, you know, between 3 to 5 gallons. So now I'm going to do the same thing to the rear black tank. Always do this right after you dump, because otherwise you might forget. And quite honestly, without this stuff in there, it's got some magic stuff that eats the poop or something.
Oh my god, it breaks it down.
Well, you know, eat breaks down, whatever.
Oh, Chad. Gross. So, it's gross. So what are you doing now?
So, part of T24 is to inspect the roof, slide toppers, sweep any crap off of them, and pretty much it. Just want to look things over.
Okay. You look like Spider-Man.
So, pretty simple process up here. Look things over, look for any tears, any problems with the roof. We haven't really been under a lot of trees here, so I think everything will be fine. I like to check slide toppers. Nothing on there. If there's any water, I get it off. I start up here at the nose and just look things over. Make sure there's no tears in the roof. Make sure there's no problems up here. None of the sealant has peeled back, etc. Everything looks good. I don't even need to sweep the toppers off, so yep, don't need this at all. Oh, I think I see a problem. Done. I think I will sweep this little section off here just to get the dirt off. I do like to make sure that these gutters are clean. Each side has this gutter system. And I just check and make sure it's not full of pine needles or anything like that, because that'll clog up and cause stuff to go down the sides. So it's a pretty simple matter. This ladder just folds up like that. Couple of pins down here. Part of our T24 is also to make sure we have enough fresh water for whatever it is we're going to be doing. So if we're going to be boondocking for a few days or whatever, we want to have enough fresh water for that. In this particular instance, where we're just going to be traveling from one site to another, but we do want fresh water when we're stopped at rest areas and, yeah, rest areas.
Rest areas, that's about it.
So we want our fresh water to flush the toilet, wash our hands, that's about it. I'm going to put about 20 gallons in. I just got a new meter, so I can see exactly how much goes in. I know our fresh tanks are completely empty because I just emptied them on purpose to get all the weird well water we had in there out.
Yeah, it was stinky.
Yeah, so if you want to take a look over here.
I do.
We have a light in here. So with this Nautilus system, a couple things. We've heard that whenever you manipulate the system in here, you want to relieve the pressure. So I'm going to shut off the water. That's why I keep a 90-degree in here. So I'm shutting off our water. I'm going to open our showers. You might want to step to the side a little bit.
Oh.
And then I'm going to...
Oh my.
relieve the pressure.
Under pressure.
So I do that little bit whenever I'm changing it from dry camping to city water or city water to dry camping or to fresh water fill. So if you look at the system here, I can see that power fill tank is this configuration, basically these three flat and that to the right. I'm going to give us maybe 20 gallons. And then I'll switch it back over to city water and we'll have fresh water in our tanks for tomorrow. Side note, whenever you manipulate these guys here, for instance, I have them like this so I could push the thing and let pressure out, always turn them back off. What will happen is if you leave those things open and then you go about your daily work of just using your water, it will cause bleed over between the hot and cold sides and you'll end up with lukewarm water even though you have plenty of hot water. So learn that lesson twice. All right, 20.8 gallons. So we're pretty good to go there. So I'm going to switch this thing back over to city water, which means that it shouldn't have any pressure in the system after a tank fill, but I'm going to open these up, push the thing. Oh, well, there's some pressure in there. And then just switch it back over to city water. So that goes down, that goes up, and I'm going to put this thing back, repressurize the system slowly. There we go. And now I'll continue on. I checked the walkie-talkies earlier, they're good. So T24 checklist is done and it's time to move on to the T12 because it is now, we've gone to dinner, we've come back, it's the night. So going to secure the outside items, which is our rugs and chairs, etc. So a couple chairs to put away out here and put our rug away and get on those. Tyra's going to be doing the inside stuff.
I'm doing the inside stuff.
I'm going to the garage.
She's going out there.
So this comes to the single item that's probably the most work, which is prep the garage. I'm going to turn this from office mode into garage mode. First thing is put the stuff away here. This will go in the truck with us. I put the wheel dock outside here just to get it out of the way. My laptop gets stowed inside where it's going to be safe from bouncing around. This is a backup of our network attached storage that I keep synced. Always have more than one copy. The thing I like about this monitor is that the face comes off of it and you'll see what I do with it. I've got long enough cables so that while I'm moving this, the Wi-Fi Ranger and hotspot stay hooked up. These little benches we got from Big Lots, but they're really cool little benches. We can store stuff in and they work great in here. All I've got to do is rotate them off onto the angle here so it's off of the carpet. Charging station gets put away. So now I'm left with just carpet and desk. So it took a little bit of experimentation to figure out the right method for this. this seems to work out best for me. Watch this. So I fold that over, I don't roll it, so it's easy to step on and step right over and take the desk back to stow position. Tuck a towel in between the desk and the door. And then I roll the carpet up. So I don't bother sweeping the whole floor until we get to our destination. So all I do at this point is sweep the middle off where the motorcycle tires are going to be, because I don't want them sliding around. That white stuff you can probably see on the floor there is just stuff that's broken away from the bottom of the rug where my office chair rolls around. So I just get that out of the way, and then we'll worry about the rest when we set up camp. So I used to bolt down the wheel dock using the bolts that are built into the floor here, but after I stripped one out and you know, it's probably been about 24 or so moves that I've just left the wheel dock flat on the ground, and it's fine. It's not going anywhere. It's a 900-pound motorcycle, and I've got it strapped down on 4 corners, so it's good. I lock this in the down position. All right, so it's super foggy out here, which is one of the reasons we want to get Lucile in tonight versus tomorrow. It's supposed to rain, so let's get this thing packed up. So now all I've got to do is secure the patio rails, put the patio into ramp mode, and pull in Lucile. And normally I would hold those sides down with bungees, but they're staying by themselves, so I'm okay with it. The nice thing about having the wheel dock is this thing, it holds the motorcycle perpendicular while I get it strapped down. All I got to do is pull in, I hit a little kick on the side, and the hydraulic pops up and holds the front wheel in place, and you know, she's good and steady while I strap her down. These are some straps I got on Amazon, and you can add on these felt things so they loop around, and that way these can go right on the highway bars. And I've got front and rear highway bars that bolt right to the frame, so tying Lucile down is really pretty simple. Lucile is now strapped in. I don't tighten her all the way down the night before, just because, well, I compress all the shocks and everything more time than I need to. So I strap it down just so she's secure and not going to roll out. Not that she would anyway. And then I save the hard strap for the morning before we leave. So now all I have left is to secure the back, and we're good to go.
So obviously Chad does the bulk of the work for T24, T12, and T0.
And hitching.
And hitching. He does pretty much all of it, and that was an agreement that we had going into this, because with my illness, it's hard for me to do a lot of that stuff. But I do try to secure everything inside and take care of that stuff. So the day of, I put the rest of the stuff, tuck it away securely. So that involves all the little stuff. We have forgotten this thing a few times, and it dinged the, it could have been a lot worse.
Yep.
But so I just tucked that away behind the basket over here. You just get really good at finding places to tuck things. But this stuff I usually just put it right in here on the bed. And then I also do the mirror that is hiding behind the door. And then the rug, and I roll the puppy down up inside the rug for safekeeping. Oh, we're moving. Oh, we're moving. We're moving. Don't roll up the puppy. Don't roll up.
It's like a little puppy treadmill.
Except a puppy treadmill. Like a puppy treadmill. Alright, well, I like to make sure that these are all shut so they don't bounce around or break or whatevs. And then, gotta make sure this is latched up. Keep everything in there that falls down, which is just the hats usually, from falling out. And we also make sure that there's nothing along the underside or sides of the bed, and make sure that that's all clear from shoes and stuff. So that's all done. Then what I also do is I want to make sure all of this stuff is already down on the ground, because I have this weird fear of something flying off, knocking the water, you know, and then we come into a mess. So better safe than sorry. Very, very important. Make sure the shower door is hooked in, latched.
If that comes loose during travel, that glass could shatter and it'd be a problem.
And then I just put this stuff away. Honest and true, it just gets shoved right like this. And then I like to go through and make sure everything is shut. And then we make sure here, we have forgotten this. I feel weird sitting on the toilet. Seats down. We gotta make sure that we lock this door into place, because we have forgotten that, and this door gets a little bit beat up from sliding back and forth and stuff. So that's secure. And that's about it up on the front part of the RV. We also make sure that all the blinds are up and that all the cabinets, doors, and everything are shut. And part of my list is to take that little fur baby for a walk to get some energy out and give her some exercise and poo and pee. So that's next on my agenda.
Taking the recyclables like a responsible human.
Yeah. So last night you saw me doing some stuff in here, and this might look a little strange, but what we do is we take these little bungee cords here, and we have gotten, the corners of these chairs have gotten a little scuffed up sometimes, so we just cover them with the towel. We secure these benches, we secure them right to the chair so they don't go moving around, and then I just tuck the clasp part of the hooks into the towel so that the clasp doesn't scrape around.
Yeah, you'll see that when we close the slides, this chair edge here will come all the way over and hit this.
Right, so when we're bouncing around and stuff, it bounces around. I also put one bungee cord and bungee these two chairs together, just so everything stays put, and we've had no problems with that. And then this one is bungeed to this bench over here.
This loose stuff goes in the sink.
Loose stuff, and then I have loose stuff under here that you saw me put in there, utensils and things like that. All this stuff is going in the car because it's snacks and coffee, and that's a must. My part is pretty much good to go.
It's time to secure the garage. Starting to back, work my way forward. Latch that up, good to go. Curtains are usually hung up out of the way like that. So I'm gonna work my way forward here. I already know the Happy Jack is in the up position because we never took it down. Everything is basically just snugged down. So now is when I will give these things a good cranking. Crank these front ones down really good. And we'll crank these down. Compresses the shocks. Okay, so Lucille is good and secure. After we've been driving, we'll pull over to a rest area and I'll come back here and check them, because after it bounces around a bit and settles down, sometimes the straps will get a little bit loose, but I've had them get loose and this bike still doesn't go anywhere. So next is the desk.
The desk.
So I used to string bungees together, then I found some nice long bungees with the carabiner clips on the end. And I just get under here.
Amazon, I assume?
Oh, of course. And then I just strap these down in a crisscross pattern so that these come across the edge of the monitor here. And I'll do the same thing going the opposite corner. I'll just make sure that's all nice and snug. The desk is up against the wall. The chair just stays tucked in like this, and office equipment secure. So this is also the part of the journey where we lose internet.
No.
So I am going to disconnect, power off the MiFi. Cables can just stay there. I will also power off the UPS that is powering the Wi-Fi Ranger. I will secure this in here. If you've got toys back here that have gotten dirty and are stinky, or perhaps I don't know, have a fuel smell or whatever. We have these vents up here, and we've got one just like it down on the other side over there, so the air can flow through. And these can be positioned so that they open forward like a ram air, or aft, you know, so it's not quite so forceful with the wind coming in. Lucile smells beautiful, so we don't need that.
That's right.
Good job, girl. Good job.
And I just want to give a general visual inspection in here. I will turn off the rear AC, off lights, off porch. All these lights are off. So everything's pretty secure inside. Everything is ready to come in as far as the slides go. I like to double check the checklist at this point. Like I say, after you've done this a while, you get used to a certain pattern and you memorize most of it. But we both always go back to our checklist to make sure that we didn't miss anything. So the next step on the T0 checklist is to actually retract the slide. So let's go do that. Time to bring the bedroom slide in. And that's it. Turn the lights off. I will verify one more time that the AC is off. Then I close the door and I consider that done. Front area is all secure. Back area, all secure. Everything's out of here. It's time to go through the control panel and make sure everything is off. I will turn off the hot water heater, make sure everything else is off. Water pump, all that good stuff. Go out here. Go to the lighting. It has this convenient little all off button here. Boom, hit that, everything goes off. And I didn't run the generator because we're in an RV park and it's pretty early in the morning. Nothing else I need on here. I will usually put this back on monitor panel, slide that up, so when we come in here to go to the bathroom at rest areas, we can just hit the water pump real quick. I will also make sure that the refrigerator is in auto position so that it will switch over to propane after we disconnect from power. I will check and make sure everything is clear for the slide here. Make sure the AC is off. This is important because after this slide goes in, I can't get back here to turn it off. I made sure that all of the vents are closed. One in the front bathroom, one in the rear bathroom, and one in here. Those are all closed. Nothing blocking this slide. Everything through here is good. These slides is particularly important to make sure there's nothing blocking them. These are all hydraulic powered, and hydraulics are very, very unforgiving. They will crush stuff. They will crush themselves. They will crush their trim. They will crush doors. So yeah, you make sure the slides are clear before taking them out, putting them in, etc. Two ways to control the slides, actually three. Two of them are through the one control system. You can do it on your phone, connect it to one control, or you can do it on the panel. And there's also physical switch under here. And that's my preferred method. You know, sometimes a little touch screen loses your touch and then it turns off and back on. I don't want to mess with that with the slide, so I use the physical switch. So let's pull the slides in. Another note of caution when you're putting these slides in. These are very big slides, and if you think of your rig as a big accordion, you push it in, air goes out, makes the noise, but we don't want that. So we want to make sure that we have a door or a window open when we pull these main slides in, because otherwise it will pressurize in here and it can break stuff. So I don't know if it would break stuff, but I'm not going to find out. Let's just put it that way. So let's put the slides in. So another thing that I like to do before I put the stairs up is I'm going to go shut off power to the rig. I want to go back inside, make sure that the refrigerator switches over to propane. I want to make sure the inverter isn't set to automatically turn on. So let me go shut off power and we'll go check that out. And we should hear, yep, hear that noise? There we go, tick, 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 tick. That is the refrigerator coming on, ignore that dirt. All right, so I killed power. I heard the refrigerator come on. I'm still going to check it from inside. I'm also going to make sure that the inverter's not on. So everything looks good in there. So I can check off slides, walk through, put the spare key in the truck. That's important. I want to get that. We like our spare keys in the truck. because when we stop at a rest area and I want to go unlock the back and check it out, I don't have to pull my keys out of the ignition to get my key that's on this key ring. So I put these in my pocket, put those in the truck, and now we can secure the stairs. I like to wipe them off first. Before I do anything else and hitch up, I need to disconnect the sewer. Obviously, we want to have the slides in before we disconnect the sewer because it covers it up. So let's get the sewer unhooked. I don't need to dump or anything because the valves were already open. So these things are great. They're made by Valterra. One came on the rig and the other one I put on. But all of this hose, this is 20 foot, two 10 foot lengths. We'll press right in and go right in there.
Good job.
We don't want our poop hose coming out, so I added these.
What is it?
It's a little carabiner. That way if somehow the latch, if the latch comes loose, the carabiner will be there to stop our poop hose from flying out on the highway, which would be nasty.
Okay.
Time to disconnect the water. So like I mentioned yesterday, it's important to relieve pressure on the system, the water system, whenever you change mode. So I'm going to be going from city water to dry camping mode. So I've shut off my 90-degree here into the rig. It's okay that there's pressure still on the line. I'll worry about that when I'm done with this part. So again, open these. Let the pressure out and close them back up. Pressure out of the line. This is also another, I think, critical piece of gear to have because you never know what the water pressure is going to be like. Obviously, you can't do much about low water pressure, but high water pressure can bust your pipes. So one of these guys here lets you dial in. I usually keep it at about 50 PSI.
What is that?
This is a Valterra pressure regulator. I'll link in the comments.
Okay.
Of course, this is just a Y adapter because why not? I want to have an extra connection. I always grab this first because I've almost left this a couple times and that would make me angry.
Yeah.
We have actually really liked this 0G water hose, and one of the reasons is how easy it is to put away. I wipe it off as I go, gets all the water out of the hose. Very light, very flexible hose. It doesn't get all bulky, take up a bunch of room in the basement. I can lift it with my pinky. We have two 25-foot lengths, has usually been enough. I do the power cable the same way that I do the hose, because usually it's gotten dirty. So just like with the gray hose, just a simple carabiner and a strap. This is heavy, which is why I kind of loop it out big so I can kind of rest on the bottom as I put it in here. So that's nice and secure there. Minus, a couple open doors and the fact that the truck's not hooked up, this thing's ready to go. Now we move on to the hitching checklist. And one of the first thing is on the hitching checklist is, are all the other checklists complete? Forward bay is closed and latched. See that? Pin lock removed. Let's get that sucker off there. And some people might wonder why. And I would say, why not? I mean, when you've got the repo man chasing you from state to state, it's good to have this on there so he can't take it with him. I'm just kidding. But I just like the added peace of mind this gives us. These just go in the bed of the truck. Now we're over on this side of the rig. We have the Lippert auto leveling system. Pretty straightforward. Push these two buttons to turn it on. I get a green light. I push the hitch height button. Let it do its thing. All right, we're back to a green light, which means it should be where it was when I first hit auto level after I came off the hitch. So usually that's pretty accurate. We'll see how it does. All right, so we're ready to hitch up. This part is critical to kind of pay attention, do everything in the right order. Step one is basically just to get the truck in position. I did that last night. So now, tailgate down, very important. Now I'm going to back the truck up to where it's not quite at the hitch, but where I can see where they're going to be at the right level to hitch up. I already put the rig in hitch height mode, which means that only the front two jacks are down, and it should be about where we left it when we before we auto leveled when we got here. So let's take a look. I think it needs to come up just a touch. This site's a little bit weird because it's angled and we're coming up a hill here. Okay, so we've got the pin at hitch height.
That scared me.
That's our airbag. Pin box and the rig is at hitch height, so we're gonna see if we can get hooked up here. That looks good. That looks right. So now I will do a visual inspection, make sure I can see that the jaw is around the pin. This is in all the way. Jaw is around, and I can see that the handle is in the all the way closed position with the safety tab, the little silver thing right there is out. So now we secure the jaws with the pin. That's good. And breakaway cable. I like the little bungee style, and this just goes right down here. So I've got the jaw pin in, I've got the breakaway cable secured, now I gotta hook up the trailer to the truck. Good to go. Now what we need to do is get the rig set for a pull test, which is to lower the rig onto the truck, and we'll get the front jacks about 1 inch off the ground. The reason being, if the pull test fails, we don't want the rig falling all the way to the ground. We want it to fall about 1 inch tops to the ground. But hopefully it don't fail the pull test. That's the whole point. All right, so like I said, now we're going to lower it. You'll see the weight transfer onto the truck. All right, so now both of the front jacks are just about that far off the ground, so we can do our pull check. All right, so we're doing our pull check, and to do that in here, I've got a brake controller right down here, and what I will do is I will squeeze that. That puts the trailer brakes on, and then I will let it try to pull forward while the trailer brakes are on and it's chocked, and the trailer shouldn't go anywhere, and that will cause tension between the truck and the trailer trying to pull it, and it should not come disconnected. Brake off, drive, brake on, and you'll probably see it in the back, and it's tugging, and we're good. I'm going to go back into neutral, let it take pressure off, put back in park, put the brake on, and pull check is good. So now we can fully retract the jacks, button everything down, tailgate up, and we're good to go. Now we can pull off the blocks.
Nope, not that one. I need your brute strength.
In here, I'm going to go ahead and set tow haul mode. I am going to extend my mirrors. I'm going to reset my trip meter. So the rear camera is hooked into the auxiliary lights. So as soon as I turn this on, which we leave on because we want the running lights on, then the camera will come on, and then boom, there's our view behind the rig.
Heading back. All right, ready for the light check. I think you got some running lights on, but it's hard to tell.
Okay, beginning light check.
Brake light. Right turn. Left turn. Reverse.
Checkity check check, we're good to go. Okay, so from the checklist here, truck lights, rear camera working, check. TPMS on. I'll give that a minute to sync up, make sure it's getting all the tires, but I checked it yesterday, so I think we're good to go. I just did the full walkabout. I did a walkabout.
Did you do the walkabout?
Walkabout. That's it. It may seem like a lot. I mean, it is a bit. It took a lot longer, certainly, filming it. Got us a little bit out of sorts, out of order.
Yeah.
We're kind of used to a flow, so trying to film it for the first time, hopefully the only time, was a little bit daunting, and that got us kind of out of our
Well,
sync.
usually we're doing stuff at the same time, and this time we couldn't do that.
Right, we don't have that many cameras. We've got a lot of cameras, but also,
Well, and Daisy's worthless. She can't film anything.
you know,
So-
she can't hold a freaking camera. She's got no thumbs.
I mean, she just lays here, and she just does nothing while we do all the work to move her house around.
Princess Daisy's house. We have the route planned out, got it in the nav, and we're good to go.
Hitting the road, Jack.
We're here. We
made it.
We got maybe 20 minutes before it rains, so we're gonna try to get set up quick. First step, get off the hitch.
That's right.
So getting off the hitch is basically just reverse of everything. All I did there was disconnect the breakaway cable, disconnect the trailer connection, and in order to get the hitch off of there, basically got to put it in neutral, let it settle, get the pressure off the pin so I can open it up. Like that. So normally we'll start doing the inside and outside separately, but I think today we're going to get the outside done because it might rain really soon.
Yeah, usually he puts the front slide out for me so I can get in and start putting stuff away inside.
Next step, auto level. So this part is kind of like magical. I push one button and this thing levels itself. Love it. Solid green light, good to go. One thing to note on this auto level system, it does tend to go nose down and then come back up. You definitely got to make sure the truck is out of the way. You don't want to have it close and hitting the bumper with the hitch or something. So electricity and all that good stuff. Got two blue lights, and we should hear the electric kick on, and the refrigerator will switch over to electric. Shut off gas. There it goes. So I leave this disconnected with this closed until I get water in line. That way I can let the air out of this before I connect it to the rig. Okay, not much pressure in there, so we're good.
I've been the victim of that before.
Switch it over to city water, which is just one switch here. Right, down, right, up, up. Pressurize. Now, again, the key here is you don't want to just slam it open. You want to let the water in gradually. Gradually let the pressure in, now I can open it up. Close this guy here. So we're only going to need one section of hose. We carry 4 10-foot sections. Because they're separate sections, it makes it easy. So I've got angles and straights. This one's going to need a straight one. Doesn't screw in here.
Oh. Well, how do you keep it on there?
The donut will help in this situation. There we go.
So, about how often do you think that we use that?
It's the first time.
I thought so.
I bought that thing because everybody said, gotta have one, and I've never used it, but
Now we know why.
now I'll keep it a little more snug.
Yeah, otherwise you have a food disaster.
This is the first time we ever got chocolates at check-in.
Daisy, you happy? You want me to get you some food and water?
Want some food?
It's pretty much just the same thing, only backwards. Actually, I think setting up camp is easier than breaking down camp because you're spreading stuff out versus packing stuff in.
Agreed.
Tara agrees. That means I'm right. There's the rain.
There's the rain. You got to open the cabinets very carefully and slowly when you first get to your destination because stuff shifts and falls out.
Be prepared for the world to throw things at you.
True. Just put it back in its place and then you take a nap. That's part of the checklist. The one thing that gets me every time because I usually forget, but I remember today because we're doing this video, is this cabinet right here. Things always jump out at me and fly everywhere when I open it up after we travel. So now I just watch. Look, are you kidding me? Nothing's falling out. Well, this time we're good, but usually everything comes crashing out at me. So some things got out. Well, there you go. Some things fell out of place and moved around, but nothing. I'm doing that part. And then I just put my stuff back. And then I'll put the shower back together, put all the stuff where it goes, and that's it.
Time to set up the office. First step is just gather up all of the tie downs. You can see the desk traveled nicely. Straps are all put away. I would normally put the wheel dock up there while I get set up, but that's the piece that actually locks in the wheel. Once I get that end squared up, it's pretty easy from then on out. Apply power, which will power up the router. Get out AT&T. So the office is set up. Now it's time to set up the internet. If you watched our internet video, you'll know that this is the little dance I talk about where I see which service is going to work, which service isn't, and see how it goes. Let's do a speed test here. Let's see what we get. Yeah, see my download speeds now are 58.6 down and 8.56 up. Good to go. Reconnect the NAS. Office is done. The office setup, it's a chore. It's a bit of work, but I only have to do it, the breakdown setup, once every 10 days, 2 weeks-ish, and it's worth the effort to have all this room here. It makes it a lot more like an actual room in a house versus I'm sitting in a garage. So well worth the time to set it up. All told, I can do this whole thing now in like 15-20 minutes. And like that, our house is now in Bar Harbor, Maine.
So that's it, guys, in a nutshell.
Yeah, in a
very quick, condensed nutshell. You might not think it was quick, but it was definitely condensed.
You were right, it wasn't quick.
Yeah.
Because it's a process.
Yeah.
But we've got it down pretty good, and moving spots is just second nature to us now. But we always use the checklist.
Always.
Especially the hitching one.
Well, yeah, and the couple of times that we've missed something in the very beginning of this RV journey was because we didn't check the checklist.
Yeah, after a few weeks, you know, we thought we were just too cool for checklists.
Yeah.
We'll just kind of zip on through this, and then we crush we crush a pantry door. So you know, it happens. So we don't do that anymore.
We were newbies. We'll blame it on you know, new and stupid,
yeah.
I guess.
So listen, guys, if you like this video, if you want to see our travel videos, if you want to see our motorcycle ride videos, our instructional videos, our review videos,
Yeah.
please subscribe below.
And they're not hour-long videos either.
Yeah, those are shorter ones.
Right.
Please subscribe. Please click the little bell so you'll get notified whenever we put out a new video or when we go live, which may happen soon.
Yeah, if you have any questions about anything in this process, just put it in the comments below. You know, please, you don't need to put in there how long the video was because we get it and we know.
Yeah.
Right?
So let's not make this video any longer. Let's go.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.